Cheers to still managing to achieve our goals in 2020.
and welcome to what I'm certainly is the first virtual graduation ceremony that I've ever been part of, and I suspect that might be the case for many of you as well. My name's Paul Woppett, and I have the great privilege of being the CEO of the Australian Institute. I ask all of you who are graduating today to join with me in celebrating Selva and Param for having laid the foundation for all of us to be where we are here today. And congratulations to Selva and Param. And I know that this will be a wonderful validation of the work that you've done for over 30 years to get AIB established to where we are today. So on behalf of everyone at AIB, our founders, our shareholders, our board of directors, our academic board, our academic team and our online facilitators, our 143 staff members, our almost 11,000 alumni, and our 5,200 students from more than 55 countries, it's my great pleasure to welcome you here today. Typically, when we have our in-person graduation ceremonies, we would commence proceedings with a welcome to country delivered by an elder of the land on which AIB operates, the Kaurna people. Today, though, given that we're meeting on many, many lands, we just want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which you are all meeting and taking part in today's celebrations, and to offer our respects to the Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander, Maori, Inuit, and other Indigenous peoples throughout the world. How good was that video? I'm not sure whether everybody had the opportunity to go in and have a look at the video that was screening on YouTube beforehand. And don't worry if you actually haven't had the chance to do it. We'll send through a link so that you can enjoy that and share that with your family and friends afterwards. And we encourage you to do that and to use the hashtag AIB Grad 2020 when you share it on social media. We also have an Instagram filter that you can use to showcase your graduation day, like these influencers who are appearing on screen shortly. Not sure how that one slipped in there anyway, but we've got some housekeeping issues that we probably just need to go through as well. Because we want to be able to see so many of you, we want to be able to, for you to be able to see your fellow graduates, we're running this as a Zoom meeting rather than as a Zoom webinar. And so we do ask that you do keep your microphone on mute wherever possible, although towards the end we might open it up, and Zoom doesn't cope all that well with multiple voices at the same time, but we do want to get a little bit of raucous noise along the way if we can. Also, because there are a number of people here today, we suggest that you use the speaker view and gallery view toggle. That's, if you're on your desktop, it's in the top right hand of the screen, so that you can see the people who are speaking at any point in time, but also take the moment to toggle back and scroll through the various pages so that you can see your fellow graduates as well. And for those who are not all that familiar necessarily with Zoom, although really, hopefully at the end of your MBA you are, then you can use the reactions that are in Zoom as well. There's a clap hands reaction, there's a thumbs up reaction, and you can find them in the screen as well. In our graduating class today, we have 850 graduates from 25 countries, although not all of them are here today. And I have to say, all of us at AIB are just so proud of each and every one of you. We really love graduation day because of it's the celebration of an enormous sense of pride and accomplishment that you have, the culmination of a long journey and an enormous investment. And so all of us at AIB are really grateful to each and every one of you as well, because we know that there are a lot of MBA programs out there, a lot of MBA providers out there, and it really means a great deal to us that you've chosen us and trusted us for such an important experience, such a big investment of your time, of your energy, of your money. And we hope that we've been able to repay your faith in us as well. But we'd also like to acknowledge everyone who supported you and your fellow graduates on your journeys all the way through. So husbands, wives, partners, children, colleagues, fellow students, teaching staff, our own Student Central team as well. And, you know, if, as the adage goes, it takes a village to raise a child, well, then it certainly takes a village, and a very big village, to produce an MBA graduate. And so we thank and honour all of those people in your lives who've provided that support along the way. Today's not intended to be an overly formal occasion, but we do want to ensure that it has the core elements of a graduation ceremony. And so I'd now like to welcome to our screen our Academic Dean, Professor Ingrid Day, to make some remarks.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, so as Paul said, I'm the Academic Dean. I'm privileged to be the Academic Dean here at AIB. Now, normally, at this point in graduation, I say something like, welcome to this wonderful setting. Isn't this a gorgeous room, etc. Well, not quite going to say that, but nonetheless, I think we're going to make Zoom work for us. We've got a fabulous event planned. So welcome to this event. First of all, I want to echo Paul's comments, and I want to particularly welcome Selva and Param Abraham, the founders of the Australian Institute of Business, without whom none of us would be here today. We owe them a huge debt and we honour them. Thank you, Selva, and thank you, Param. Selva, along with Rod Oxenby, who I can also see on the screen there, welcome Rod, he's also with us today, were the supervisors of Dr. Lisa Mohammed, who we also celebrate today on the awarding of her Doctor of Business Administration. So I really want to congratulate Lisa and thank you particularly to Rod and Selva for that journey. But particularly big welcome to all AIB staff who are with us, and of course, most importantly, to the graduands, you our graduands. I'm not going to talk for too long, and I know, as Paul said, there are some less serious parts of today's event, but I do just want to say a few words, and also I'll be announcing some special awards. So you, our graduates, what an amazing group of people. You've achieved your goal and you've completed it in a year like no other. The challenges have been unique, and it's taken a particular kind of tenacity and resilience to see the distance and to succeed. So well done, absolutely heartfelt, well done. And that means it's a day to celebrate. You're an inspiration to all of us, quite simply. You're just the reason we go to work every day. And you're as students, you are our focus every minute for all the work that we do. People talk about work-life balance. So just 1 minute about me. I know that study is a challenge. I achieved my first qualification when I was 35, a bit of a late starter. I was caring for 2 children, 2 preschoolers, and I was working. And to be honest, I had a few false starts. I didn't get there with my first go. And that's because I just wasn't prepared for the discipline that's necessary to be a successful student. But ultimately, when I did make it, study changed my life in so many profound ways. I think the most important was the broader horizons and perspectives and ways of seeing the world that I learned and developed. And I sincerely hope that your time at AIB has been as much of a life changer for you as it is for me. So you now have formal recognition for your expertise. Your qualification is built upon a combination of practical business education and theory and experiential learning. Now, by experiential learning, I mean that we recognise that as working professionals, you've got a wealth of practical knowledge and experience to draw on as you study new theories and concepts. And as a practical business school, we ensure that we stay closely in touch with real business. So, for example, this year we've established an industry advisory board and 5 industry alumni panels who are made up of influential and enterprising business leaders. Those are just 2 examples of how we stay connected. Our academics are also close to their professions, and our online learning facilitators are often both experienced educators as well as practicing professionals. In short, we stay in touch with contemporary business issues and innovations, and we keep it real. The enormous success of the 4 public webinars we've convened this year in 2020, I think is a testament to our relevance. And I hope as alumni, you will continue to join us in those kind of events and to stay closely connected with our initiatives. Before I go on to awards, I just want to talk about our graduate qualities, because those graduate qualities shape our goals, shape the design of our learning, they shape who we are, and they shape our aspirations for you as our students. So with respect to our graduate qualities, what I can say that we are confident about is that you as graduates are now able to engage in critical analysis and to utilise data, that you're open to new ideas, approaches and techniques, that you're committed to ethical conduct and professional integrity, that you can communicate clearly, concisely and confidently, that you are adaptive, resilient and collaborative, and that you embrace change and are willing to challenge the status quo. I hope and am confident that you see yourselves in those graduate qualities. So finally, for this piece of what I have to say, just warm congratulations, very best wishes to graduates. We're very, very proud that you've chosen to study with us and that you've persevered and that you've succeeded. Congratulations. Now, the next part, and I think we're going to be looking for slides to take away my face here for a while, the Teaching Excellence Awards. Each year, we invite nominations for our Teaching Excellence Awards, which celebrates the outstanding achievements of our teachers. Now, you know firsthand as students that we have amazing academics, and most of these names will be familiar to you. And I'm going to confess, part of me really hates making these announcements, not because I'm not proud of our academics, but because I would love to reward and award every single one of our teachers. I'm so proud to work with them. However, it's a job to be done. These were identified from a panel, so it certainly wasn't just me, it was a panel who selected the winners. And we have two categories and one special award. The first category is our permanent academics, the permanent team of teachers, and the 2020 Teaching Excellence Awards goes to Sam Soleimani. Congratulations, Sam. And if we had applause, we'll just look at the hands down there and imagine that we're all resounding applause. Well done, Sam. We have got two highly commended awards. These were, well, just very, very commended for the innovative, devoted and excellent teaching that they do. And those two commendations are to Jackie Larkin and to Alicia Stanway. Congratulations, Alicia and Jackie. And special mentions. And I want to make clear, special mentions are not afterthoughts. These are amazing academics who stand out for their accomplishments and their dedication. So our special mentions are to Vishal Rana, I'm waiting for the slide, to Prajit Deb, to Mingwei Sun. Congratulations, highly commended and special mentions. And I talked about a special award as the panel was going through the nominations. We recognised that in this really unique year, there have been unique needs from students of our academics. It's been particularly challenging. Many of these students working in isolation or perhaps having losing your jobs, and I hope not, but we know that it's been a really particularly challenging year. Again, and I'm going to use this word proud again, I know that I've seen how our academics have reached out and gone above and beyond. And I think that's a fabulous feature of AIB, and it goes to the heart of what I was saying about being focused on students. However, there is one COVID award that we want to make for a particular academic who we believe has exemplified that reach out and support quality. And so that award goes to Mamun Allah. Congratulations, Mamun. Now onto our online learning facilitators, who all of you students will engage with so often and know these names. Many of you will know these names, I'm sure. We have one Teaching Excellence Award amongst our online learning facilitators, and that award goes to Sanjeev Abayanaki. Congratulations, Sanjeev. I hope that Sanjeev has managed to join us today. And we've got 4 high commendations for our online learning facilitators. And those 4 are Mr. Noel Richards, Kaveen Bashu, Karen O'Connell-Shea, and Krishnan Hariharan. Congratulations. Now you may, I just want to point out, Kaveen has also been facilitating our masterclasses for us, and I think that over time we'll see more of our online learning facilitators facilitating masterclasses. And just, I do want to mention, for graduates, stay in touch. We offer masterclasses in new areas, in different areas, or in deeper areas, and that's something you might like to revisit our staff and undertake. So congratulations to all the winners. As I said, you're all fantastic. And now I'm going on to fantastic students. And again, you're all fantastic. However, there is a Dean's Merit List, and that recognises the Dean's Merit List recognises students for outstanding academic performance by MBA students each year. I'm not going to read out every name, but we are going to share the names on the screen, and you will be able to see yourselves on our website. The first screen of our Dean's Merit Award is for the May cohort of students. So I'm going to give you just a moment to see the names on the screen of our Dean's Merit List. And then to our November cohort. Paul, I think you're in charge of the screen, or are you waiting your 30 seconds? Thank you. And this is our outstanding list of students who've achieved the Dean's Merit Award. Congratulations to you all. This represents enormous effort and enormous achievement. And finally, another privilege that I have is to name our valedictorians. And our valedictorians are presented to individual students on the Dean's Merit List who have achieved the highest grade point average. Now, typically, or usually, it would be one. That's not always the case. Sometimes there's more than one. And this year we have two groups because we have May and November, but our Valedictorian Award winners, warmest congratulations to Veronica Scriven, to Selma Barlow, to Jessica Lubsch, and to Mark Lennox. We'll be hearing from you shortly, but I will just leave you with congratulations to all graduates, congratulations to our academics, all of our academics and those who have won awards, and congratulations to our Dean Merit List recipients and to our valedictorians. Enjoy the rest of this event. Thank you. Over to you, Megan.
Thanks, Ingrid. Hi, everyone. My name's Megan. I'm in student and alumni marketing with AIB. I'm delighted to be a part of this event today as we celebrate all your postgraduate achievements and honour the long road it's been since you started your journey with your degree in AIB. You all look really fabulous in your hats. Thank you for wearing them with pride. We love to see it. So I have the pleasure today of helping us get to know those 4 valedictorian graduates a little better. So we'll be having a chat about their careers, their study experiences and the future. But first, I'll give you a little bit about each of them. So first up, Veronica. I can see you there in your purple hat, Veronica. Hi. Veronica has worked in healthcare for 8 years now, since the completion of her physio honours degree. Whilst working as a physio, Veronica found her niche working alongside people with a cancer diagnosis, and she's passionate about ensuring equitable access to healthcare. So she's now working as the Manager of Cancer Services and Innovation for Murrumbidgee Local Health District. I hope I said that right. And that's a role she took on while she was studying the MBA. And a bit about Selma Barlow. She started her education and career in chemistry with an undergraduate and master's. In the UK, along with her husband, she started an environmental consultancy business where she used those chemistry skills. And for 15 years, she helped to grow that company that still operates today and operates globally as well. Since she moved to Australia in 2012, Selma's worked in economic development and tourism. And now as a business engagement advisor in local government here in Adelaide, she develops and implements strategies to build the capability of local businesses to showcase the region and attract investment. A bit about Jess. So Jess worked early on in her studies that numbers were really her thing. So she completed a bachelor in mathematics and statistics. She's since worked in a range of roles in the finance industry, including building fraud detection software for insurance firms and also in credit risk. She recently attained a new role with one of our big financial institutions where she's undertaking analytics projects to develop and implement digital marketing strategies. And actually, she started that role just this week. So congrats on that as well, Jess. And finally, Mark. Mark has over 15 years experience as an IT project manager in financial service sector, working in both retail and corporate, client and vendor side. So for the last 8 years, he's worked in professional services, implementing treasury management solutions to central banks, state authorities, and corporate treasury clients. Mark specialised his MBA in finance, and this was actually his first formal qualification as well. So like many of you here today. So enough from me. I'm going to start shooting some questions over to our lovely valedictorians. So I'll start with you, Mark. It's a pretty impressive feat earning the Valedictorian award for your very first degree. And what was that experience like for you jumping straight into a master's, and what did it teach you about yourself and what you're able to achieve?
Yeah, cut myself off mute. Excellent. Yeah, it was a little daunting at first, I've got to be honest. I always knew I'd need to put in the extra hours because I didn't have that academic background. But I think that developed into a form of perfectionism, with each assignment going through sometimes 10 iterations before I was happy to submit it. And I think that's the difference between adult learning and school learning. I was studying because I wanted to, not because it was compulsory. And because I wanted to get the most value out of the course, I think that personal incentive really focused my learning. So I guess my takeaway is that when I have the correct motivation and I put the extra effort in and really push myself, the results can exceed expectations.
Excellent. Thanks, Mark. I've got a similar question for you now, Jess, on your new valedictorian status. And many people might not realise, but you told me just this past week that you're actually 25 years old, and that's quite surprising because you've already achieved so much in your career. So why did you choose to pursue the MBA quite early on in your career, and what impact has it had for you so far?
I mean, I always wanted to do it eventually. I have, as you mentioned, a bit of my background. I have quite a technical background, and I think to be successful in my industry, it's really handy to have a blend of that technical skills and business acumen. So, you know, I always wanted to do it eventually. I think it was something that I wanted to do because it would make me successful in the long term. And then my dad actually one day turned around to me and said, "Oh, I'm going to do my MBA. Why don't you do it with me?" And I said, "Sure, why not? Let's kickstart that part of my career." So, yeah.
Well, shout out to your dad here today. Is he on the line?
I'm not sure, actually. I hope so. I told him to join.
Hi, Dad. Thanks, Jess. So one of the things that we hear and we love to hear so much about what postgraduate study does for people is it boosts their self-confidence. So Selma, a question for you. Has the MBA experience coincided with a shift in confidence and professional credibility for you? And how has that translated in your career?
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, I made the shift from running my own business to emigrating to Australia and taking a role in economic development. And 3 years ago, I applied for a new role and was really unsuccessful in that application process. I really started to doubt myself and question what I was doing. So I looked at the MBA, and it's completely changed the way I looked at things. I work in a really highly political environment. And instead of reacting emotionally, I started to make a really considered approach to rationalise and make decisions based on data. And I soon discovered that with the MBA, I started to go really well. It was a real lift to my confidence and self-belief. And I thought, actually, I can really do this. I'm actually quite good at this. And it also validated the business skills I'd developed over the last few years. And within 12 months, I'd interviewed for the role that I currently have. It was a very different interview. I was very prepared. I was really confident. And I've gone from strength to strength, and that's translated as well to board positions that I've subsequently developed as well.
Excellent, thanks. Mark, I've got to say, when we talk about finance as a chosen specialisation, that's enough to scare a lot of us, including me. But it wasn't for you. So why the specialisation in finance, and how are you utilising that specialist finance learning now in your career?
Well, I've worked in fintech for 15 years, so really it was a natural choice for me to pick the finance specialty. But certainly the elective financial modules have given me a greater understanding of my client's business. For example, the financial markets and institutions module that basically taught us how central banks operate. That's proven very practical at the moment, as I'm currently trying to help RBA implement an automated testing tool for their treasury management system. But more broadly, I guess the finance specialty has given me the confidence to converse with client C-level management on a more equal footing, to discuss what their business needs are and where that might bring opportunities for me and my company.
Excellent, thank you. So in a not so natural shift from finance to healthcare, one for you, Veronica. The MBA, it's a degree heavy on business learning, but you're of course in health. Are those lessons from the MBA translating to you in healthcare, and how so?
So I guess the way to look at healthcare is, even though it is a more technical based sort of hands-on approach, it's still a business model. There's still the supply chain, there's still the finance involved, there's still operational involvements as well. But I think the thing particularly that was a take home for me was the application of change management and skills in association with that. Healthcare is a constantly changing and dynamic environment, and being able to manage and mitigate risks as we change that environment is crucial. So I guess the fact that I was able to use my organisation as the example in my papers and still did well, I guess it was able to apply in some form.
Thank you. Now, many of you probably know Adelaide, we're in a lockdown at the moment. So this question's for you, Selma. Local government, it's very much a face-to-face, feet on the ground sector to work in. So what has it been like for you this year, working in business engagement while we've had this pandemic going on?
It's been a really challenging year, but an incredibly fulfilling year. So I'm the first point of contact for our business community. We have 8,000 businesses ranging from large-scale manufacturers to sole traders. I lead all the comms with our business community through newsletters, socials, websites, and obviously face-to-face engagement. So my initial role was to disseminate government restrictions and health information and make sure that that was communicated to our businesses in ways that were really easy to understand by our community. We have 104 different cultures in our community. It's been really important along the journey that I've shown empathy to make sure that they feel supported and connected, and actually just pick up the phone and talk to them. And they've been so grateful for that face-to-face, contact. So in the initial crisis stage, I worked with the business community to understand what their needs were through roundtables, task forces, hundreds of phone calls, and analysing ABS data and JobKeeper data that was coming through. And that was really useful, using those skills of analysis that I've learned through the MBA to actually drill down and work out what kind of approach we needed to get our business community back on their feet. So as a result of that, I've been case managing almost 100 traditional bricks and mortar businesses through programs to help them with websites and social media presence and online payment platforms and those kinds of things. As we went into recovery, my role's been to bring back energy to our main streets. So that's been helping businesses navigate through council processes, co-designing events, and developing seasonal shop local marketing campaigns. But the recovery really depends upon trust. So that's been a big part of my role in the community. Being that trusted source of reliable information, but also sharing positive stories to inspire and connect. So businesses need to see things are moving forward. So I've been working on economic development recovery strategies for the next 18 months. I presented those to council on Monday, and then we went down into lockdown on Wednesday. So a little bit on hold at the moment. I've pretty much worked 24/7 for 8 months. It's been exhausting, but when I hear from businesses that the support that we've provided them is the boost to get them going again. It makes it completely worthwhile.
And so much of it sounds like it's just being human, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
Like yeah, excellent. Thank you. We hope we can get back to some normalcy soon. Just like this year, there's no sugarcoating that postgraduate study is a lot as well. One for you, Veronica. Were there points in the past couple of years where you were balancing your studies with work and life as well, that you had to channel a whole lot of that resilience to get you through, and kind of what kept you going towards the finish line of the MBA?
That's a good question, Megan. And I think we've all had our own challenges that might be slightly different over the last couple of years. And I guess for me, professionally, I had quite a significant change in my career. Our community went through some significant changes, particularly in the last 12 months, with droughts followed by flash flooding, followed by bushfires, and now COVID, and working in the healthcare industry like Selma, 24/7, non-stop. And personally as well, I've had some considerable health issues over the last 2 years with numerous operations and life-changing diagnoses. So it has been a really challenging 2 years. And to be honest, what's helped get me through it, I did take a subject or two off from my MBA just to have a bit of a recap, but I honestly couldn't have done it without my peers. And I've got to shout out, I know Paul's on the line, and I'm going to embarrass the shit out of you, Paul, and I'm really sorry, I'm going to swear. I remember one day telling Paul what was going on, and I just said, you know, and he's just like, give me your husband's phone number. I need to call him and tell you just to snap out of it. You know, you're so close, you're 9 subjects in, you can do this. And I would not have been able to get through it without my peers. So my biggest thank you to you all on the line. I did no much more work than anyone else of my peers, and Valedictorian is no more of an award for me than it is for everyone who just managed to get their MBA. So thank you. Well done, everyone.
Oh, excellent. Thanks, Veronica. Yeah, claps to everyone. So along that vein, quite a similar question for Jess then. You know, we're talking about support network and how important it is to have your family, friends and peers studying alongside you. Jess, was that the case for you as well? And what role did your fellow students play in your overall journey?
Yeah, definitely. And Veronica really couldn't have said it any better. If, you know, not only, obviously we learn a lot of skills in the MBA, and we take a lot of that away, but really I think it's not only the peers, but it's the friendships that you make with those peers. You know, I'm still in contact with a lot of people that I, you know, was studied alongside with, and the networks that I made. And I think it's funny, you know, there's a little bit of a stigma, or there used to be a bit of a stigma around online learning. And when I first told some of my colleagues that I was doing my MBA online, they kind of said, oh, you know, that's not as good as doing it in person, and you won't make the networks that you do. And I think this year's gone to show that, you know, you can do anything virtually. And really, I've made some fantastic friendships. And, you know, the last MBA takes 2 years, and, you know, a lot of us have gone through challenges in that time. You know, personally, I unfortunately lost my mum in my second last subject. And if it wasn't for my peers, I wouldn't have made those last 2 subjects. You know, I had them messaging me to be like, where are you up to, keeping me accountable. And if it wasn't for them, I don't think I would have finished. I would have given up. So yeah, I'm really grateful for the peers and the friends I made.
I'm sure it goes both ways as well. You were fortunate to have them, and they were fortunate to have you as well.
I'm sure.
Excellent. Well, we'll stop there. We have could ask many more questions, but we better get on with the event. So that was fantastic. I just want to thank Veronica, Selma, Jess and Mark for sharing so much about yourselves and your MBA journeys with us. And congratulations once again on the huge achievement of Valedictorian. So now I'm going to hand it over to Jo, who's AIB's Chief Operating Officer. She's going to share with us some awards, but of a slightly different kind.
So one of the great advantages of having an informal graduation rather than just the formal graduation is we get to recognise a few people for things that don't normally happen in the formal graduation. So our very first award is Best Dressed. Now, not today, because we are not that organised with working out presentations in advance. So this is Best Dressed from the videos that you sent through to us. And from Sparkles to Puppies to Superman to one particular person being on point in our brand colours, and you can bring up the photos, Paul. We loved seeing, so Claire, on point in our brand colours. We absolutely loved seeing you all embrace the spirit of the casual graduation, and to really see the joy and creativity come out in that. And I particularly love the puppy, Masilda. But the winner of our Best Dressed was none other than Lachlan Pope, Superman. Congratulations. I also see that the theme for our Best Dressed, they all have the teal hats. So the purple ones didn't get a look in. All right, our next category. I briefly mentioned the video, and we couldn't have loved the videos that you sent in anymore. We laughed, we cried. I think that Paul Woppett has watched it about 17 times, and every time tells us how much he loves it. It was amazing to see everyone embrace the spirit and to really celebrate and be proud of what you've achieved, because it's an extraordinary achievement. So again, we have 4 top submissions. Earl Pereira with his family, Colleen with a very fancy background, Jennifer with her family, and Christy chilling to the funk sounds of the Hilltop Hoods. Definitely worth watching all of those videos. And if you haven't clicked on the YouTube link, make sure you do. And the winner, and not just because she chose to set her video to the sounds of the Adelaide locals, the Hilltop Hoods, Christy. Well done, Christy. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, we have an award for the most supportive peer. Now, this was done, we asked you to nominate who had been the most supportive to you throughout your MBA journey, and then we tallied up who everyone had mentioned. And so honourable mentions go to Courtney, Nerida, Kate, it's a good name for supportive people, Kurt Cotter, Paul Weebies, and Stephen Connell. But the winner of the most supportive peer is none other than our valedictorian, Veronica Scriven. Well done, Veronica. And that is just an enormous testament to someone who sees that success is something that can and indeed should be shared. And so to achieve individual success and also be recognised as someone who was the most supportive to these cohorts is an extraordinary achievement. And having had a chat to Veronica at least once throughout her MBA journey, I'm not even slightly surprised, but a huge congratulations. So well done, and we will be sending out some prizes to you over the next couple of weeks. Congratulations, everyone.
Thanks, Jo. I'm going to ask everyone, just if you're not already in the speaker view rather than gallery view, just to go to speaker view for a moment, because it became apparent to us that when we were giving our shout out at the start of this this virtual event to our founders, Silver and Param, that they may not have actually been on the line, but I believe they're on the line now. And Param and Silver, if you don't mind just unmuting yourself and just saying something so that you'll come up on the screen. We talked before about how everybody who's here today is indebted to you for having built a business that has enabled people to change their lives, but also to celebrate the business that you have built and what an important achievement that's been to take something from a startup to a world-beating, world-class, highly innovative organisation. So, Param and Silver, if you don't mind just saying hello so that people can give you their congratulations and their thanks. Looks like I may have misplayed that one completely. Oh, no, there they are.
Hi. Well, we just want to say congratulations. You've gone through a huge, arduous journey, and you have come to a very successful conclusion. We all know how difficult the journey would have been for each and every one. So our heartiest congratulations. And we love this new way of this new format. It's lovely and it's so personal. And we'd like to say a special congratulations to Lisa Mohammed, who has been through a very, very tough journey herself. So congratulations, Lisa. Thank you.
Thank you, Selva. Thank you, Param. And that's it's wonderful, and we all send our thanks and congratulations to you as well. So I'd now like to introduce you to a fellow AIB alumnus, Mark O'Neill, who's going to provide a few reflections about what his MBA has done for him, and perhaps a little bit about what you can expect now that you're about to graduate as well. Mark is a former professional rugby league player who played in the 1990s and 2000s, firstly for the Balmain Tigers, and then following a merger of that club with the Western Suburbs Football Club, the West Tigers. So he played with the combined club for about 12 years. And he followed that up with 2 years in the UK with the Leeds Rhinos and the Hull Kingston Rovers. Mark was captain of the West Tigers during its premiership year of 2005. And as diehard fans, my father and my brother still talk about how great that day was with tears in their eyes, Mark. And he was also captain of the World Sevens winning team in 2004. Since retiring as a player, Mark's undertaken various business management roles, including as General Manager of Communications and Football Compliance at the National Rugby League, the NRL, as a project manager with Woolworths Group, as the General Manager of Football with his old club, the West Tigers, and then since 2018 as General Manager of Football with the Parramatta Eels. Mark's an ambassador and an advocate for Kids Helpline, the National Breast Cancer Foundation and the White Ribbon Foundation. Mark's pursuit of a career in professional sports meant that he didn't necessarily follow that traditional path from high school to university, like many of you who are graduating today. He enrolled in AIB's Graduate Certificate in Management on the basis of his managerial experience. And once he successfully completed that grad cert, he went on to complete the MBA in 2019 and graduated in our June ceremony last year. Mark's also a member of AIB's newly formed Industry Advisory Board, and is both an enthusiastic member of AIB's alumni network and also a person that I've just been very privileged to get to know just a little bit better since the first time we met when he crossed the stage last year to receive his parchment. So Mark, it's a great delight to have you speak to our graduating class of 2020.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate the warm introduction there. Can everyone hear me okay? Yep, cool. Yeah, I'm extremely grateful of my time that I had with the Australian Institute of Business and during my study, and also very fortunate to remain connected still to this day. So I feel a sense of privilege to be able to share some of the potential insights of basically what comes next from my personal perspective. But I guess before I do that, the first thing that I would like to say is congratulations. Completing a journey of this nature is fantastic. And it's something that I think you're all entitled to feel extremely proud of. Just listening to some of the challenges that you've gone through on your journey, I think it just makes it even more important to take stock, recognise the achievement, and certainly celebrate the milestone that you've achieved in your life. So congratulations. I'll share some personal experiences of mine post-completion of my studies, but before I do that, and probably to give it a little bit of context behind it, I'll just give a quick background on my journey. Paul did a wonderful job with the introduction, but let me just advance that a little bit. And I'll start with why I actually wanted to complete an MBA. And that is that I've got very strong industry experience, however, nothing formal, and therefore nothing credible around that to complement that experience. I've worked in elite sport, and as it was mentioned around, it's the NRL. So there may or may not be a few people online here familiar with the National Rugby League, but that is the game that primarily that I'm associated with. And when I retired, as proud as I was of the achievements that I achieved on-field as a player, I didn't want to just be recognised as that old bloke that he used to play somewhere, that, you know, there's that ex-player. I thought there's a little bit more that I could achieve than just that. As proud as I was to be recognised in that capacity, I wanted to test myself a little bit further and my ability to learn, and I guess bring a little bit of credibility to me, my role, my industry, financially as well. I wanted to maximise the earning capacity there, which can increase from formal qualification and, importantly, the application of that education. So that was part of my mindset way back then. And prior to conducting my, completing or even commencing the MBA, I'd never been to uni as was spoken about before, I was actually a tradie when I left school, and I knew I had a gap around the formal side of me holistically to complement the experience. So I went on a journey. I completed a couple of diplomas, leadership, management, and my senior management experience was starting to emerge. And I can tell you I was extremely delighted when I'd met the criteria to start on what would end up being my MBA through the Australian Institute of Business. So there I was, I kicked off, and what initially appeared to be just an overwhelming amount of reading. I had no idea how I was going to get through it that time, but I was excited. And then you juggle the family, the work, the study, the life balance, and other important aspects in your life, and then completion comes. And I'm sure this sounds familiar to everyone out there. Everyone's been through a journey, and it's quite complex. And that's why it's important in my eyes to celebrate what can be considered, a magnificent achievement. So if I reflect upon my journey, some of the skills or benefits that I either learned or it's come to fruition post the MBA studies, there's a few there, and I'll just touch on a couple to tie it back into me. And the first one's around leadership, and it was particularly around leading multiple people. I love people. I love all the challenges that comes with that. It can be difficult at times, but I love hearing everybody's story. And having a model that I've learned throughout the journey to apply to achieve successful results, irrespective of what the subject matter or product is, was fantastic. I've participated in numerous leadership initiatives in the past, but having the understanding of my own leadership style, which really resonated throughout the studies through here, and then the importance of the followership and understanding their needs. And when I could apply these, I was able to connect a hell of a lot better with my team and achieve much greater outcomes as a result. My focus sort of went to then, it was about connection, not perfection. And that proved beneficial to me. Also, completing the MBA gave my superior staff a greater level of confidence in me, and therefore selected me to lead projects or undertake a different stretch initiative. I could see that my credibility had risen in their eyes, which sort of made me feel a little bit more validated and confident, and even then motivated to sort of a higher level than I'd ever been previous. So that was a feel-good factor there from me, and knowing that the decision makers felt that completing the MBA under complex circumstances, like we all do, is a good base to start a new piece of work and have a chance to implement some skills and of problem-solving nature and the like. So now I was provided with opportunity that didn't exist before. Having a greater understanding as well of how the senior executive and the board function effectively was very useful for me. Being able to relate to the performance element throughout the studies, that enabled my presentations when dealing with that group to be at a much, much higher standard. I actually understood a bit better the needs of the target audience. And additionally, the proposals that I was pitching became much stronger when I was able to apply even the critical analysis lens by recognising the competing arguments and associated with my position that they may be looking for. So that helped me. In that area as well. And I guess one thing financially, from those that are motivated by different things, but finance is important as well. I do recall reading the stats when I started about indicating the percentage of people that may have an ability to earn more money post their studies and applying the learnings of the AIB program. From my personal perspective, that would have been proven to be correct. That come to fruition for me. My increased earning capacity has contributed to greater lifestyle, entertainment, and other exciting interests. But the most important aspect of that for me is the ability to contribute to a happy, healthy family with our financial well-being remaining intact. Now, I mentioned sort of family just then, and it probably brings into this next point. It was wonderful to see and hear, I think it was Jessica state that her and her father did the MBA together. That's wonderful, and I can relate with that to the other end of the spectrum because I'm a father of 3 young girls, and to see the impact that it had on my daughters. The eldest daughter is 10, and I've got twins that are 7. So a couple of years ago, when I finished, or towards the early part of last year, the motivation that they provided me was very strong. I can remember when I was doing the subject integrated marketing communications, and the book come through, and I'm having a look reading, and I just remember sitting there thinking, wow, scratching my head. And I actually verbalised, I said out loud, I said, I have no idea how I'm going to get through this reading. And my eldest daughter, Mila, she just walked past and she said, I do, Dad, bit by bit. And just stared at me. She just walked off, you know, very matter of fact. So, but equally, you know, that was a moment like that said, okay, let's a reset there. But in return as well, when I was either reading or tapping away on the laptop, and one of the girls would come up and grab their toy laptop or iPad or book and just sit on your lap or next to you and read, you know, it's just a wonderful thing. And then to hear your child say that, geez, you've inspired me to read more. That's such a wonderful thing to hear, because you know you've positively contributed to the education of one so young that they will carry for the rest of their life. And they were even at an age where they actually couldn't remember all those endless hours that their mothers read to them, but they were able to identify with their father just doing something that wasn't as significant. So I dined out on that a little bit within our family. But the sacrifices that my wife and girls made for me, it made it all so worthwhile. I took great pleasure in repaying them with 12 special gifts of their choice, one for each subject, upon completion. And these things range from a night in a city hotel as a family, a holiday, taking to the fun parks, cousins or friends having sleepovers. I even had to make their dad's favourite lasagna, I guess one too many times for their mother and my own liking. But anyway, it was really, really good to be able to give something back as my way to say thank you to them, because it is a joint effort that we all made sacrifices along the way, similar to exactly what I've heard so far today. I guess to summarise from that, I would say from someone who was initially nervous, extremely nervous, new to academia, if you like, especially at this level, I found the MBA program that was offered from the Australian Institute of Business a perfect fit for me and my circumstances. I had such an enjoyable journey along the way with great support from my cohort, AIB staff, and I'm such a better person and professional for the undertaking. Absolutely. If somebody told me that when I started I would graduate and feel a sense of community and belonging with my peers and staff, whilst also remaining connected to the AIB, if I was being honest, I probably would have doubted that. However, it's turned out to be the case, and not only that, I've made some great friends along the journey with common interests all along the way until this day. We still keep in touch, so that's something that I certainly value. My credibility increased with the opportunity, as I mentioned, the career progression within my industry. And I thought that if life is like a race and it can be started when you finish your studies, like right now, I see the role of the AIB was to get me to the starting line of that race, being well prepared, armed with the qualification, skills and knowledge, fitting of the best competitors in that race. It's then the role of the individual to get over the starting line and continue in that race by applying the learnings as best you can. And that's what I feel I'm doing now. I'm applying those learnings as best I can, and I enjoy it, just reflecting upon some of the academic study that I learned along the way and how that can be applied in reality. And I hope you enjoy the same moving forward too. So congratulations on your journey. You should all feel incredibly proud of your wonderful achievements. I'd encourage you once again, take time and reflect and celebrate just how far you've come, knowing that others will similarly take notice of your success and positive change awaits. There's no doubt about that. So look, you're at the starting line now, we're standing there, best prepared competitors, whoever we can be. So good luck in the future as you apply your skills in, you know, the race that lies ahead, if you like, if we use that analogy. So thank you for hearing my story, and all the best, whatever the future may have in store for you. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mark. That's fantastic and a wonderful story. And we really appreciate and value the relationship that you have in an ongoing basis with AIB, which is a great segue, because I'm going to throw back to Megan and to Jeremy Glaros from AIB. And both Megan and Jeremy have a large role to play in keeping connection with our alumni in a lifetime sort of situation. So there's a broad range of activities for which each is responsible, and they're committed to providing ongoing, meaningful ways for you to stay connected with AIB in an ongoing basis. So over to you, Megan.
Thanks, Paul. Hi again, everyone. So now you're all alumni, you're all members of our AIB community. Though you have a different title now and you wear a different hat than you did when you were a student, you absolutely remain important members of the AIB community. We don't want you to be strangers and vice versa, so we'll be sure to keep you up to date with what's happening around AIB, and we hope you'll stay engaged with us for many, many years to come. You can reach out to our alumni team directly anytime by emailing alumni@aib.edu.au, very simple address. Make sure you keep your details up to date to us so we can always keep you abreast of what's happening. In terms of the fun stuff, so as soon as all these pandemic related restrictions allow us to, and it's safe for everyone, we're going to be heading back out to the major cities around Australia and hopefully Canada and New Zealand too, to hold those networking events. So you'll be able to get the opportunity to network with fellow alumni. And I hope to be able to see and meet as many of you in person in your cities as soon as we all can. I also want to highlight one other thing, which is AIB's quarterly publication, AIB Review, which you may have heard about, you may have read our previous editions. It tackles topical business issues, and it's actually been developed for our alumni. But as we continue to move forward with it, we're changing up a bit, and we're actually going to be welcoming article contributions for the publication from our alumni network. So you'll be able to write and showcase your expertise and then get that writing published as well. So keep an eye out for opportunities regarding that via email as well. As Paul said, I'll pass over to Jeremy now. He's our Director of Non-Award and Industry Engagement at AIB.
Lovely, thank you very much, Megan. Look, I obviously have a role here in talking a little bit about what comes next, but given I haven't had the chance to speak yet, I do just want to say what I know has already been said by a lot of people, but a huge congratulations to everybody on completing your Masters. It's a huge achievement. It's a very difficult thing to get through and to get done. And it's just fantastic to see the pride and the happiness coming through today, and all the mortarboards and the parchments on the wall and everything else. It's great to see. So well done, everybody. We haven't got long left, so I won't keep you long. And really, I'll just build on what Megan said, and also what a few of our speakers have touched on already today. So Paul earlier, Ingrid, and even Mark. There are two things that I'm leading at AIB that can and will, I expect, be relevant to many of you as we move forward. And the first is industry engagement initiatives. So you've heard a few points around that already. We've talked about alumni industry panels, they were alluded to, and also our industry advisory board. But really what we're trying to do with our industry engagement initiatives is make sure that we're true to our mantra of being the practical business school. We don't want that to just be words on a page. We want that to be very real. So what we've done in order to make that real is we've established a couple of different things, and probably the most relevant for you as a group is our alumni industry panels. We've established 5 alumni industry panels, each of which has between 10 and 15 alumni, and those panels are set up to advise us on key parts of what we're doing here at AIB. So as an example, the last sessions we had with our panels, and those 5 panels are built around different discipline areas. But in the last session, we talked with our alumni group about a proposed new subject for the MBA, a not-for-profit subject. We talked about a proposed new digital specialisation in the MBA. And we also talked about a new pathway program to help people get access to the MBA, people who might not otherwise be able to. And those discussions were very real discussions. They weren't just things where we said, okay, here's what we're doing, we'll take a few points and then walk away. We actually got real input and real valuable input from people in those chats. And that input will be points that go to inform how we do things going forward. So it's a really important thing for us. And it's something that, to those of you who are interested, if and when opportunities open up for people to join the board as we renew the panels over time, we'd love to hear from you and love to get you involved. So it's the sort of thing that may be relevant for people in due course. So that's the first thing I wanted to touch on. The second thing I want to touch on is lifelong learning. Now, it may be a strange thing to raise with people who have just completed the arduous task of finishing an MBA, but I'm sure all of you recognise that the huge arsenal of knowledge that you've built through your MBA, which you're obviously about to bring to bear in your careers, is fantastic, is going to be hugely valuable, but it doesn't mean that learning suddenly stops. It needs to be an ongoing journey. And something that we're introducing to help with that, for alumni and non-alumni alike, are short courses. So short courses that allow you to come and get targeted knowledge in a particular area that may be relevant for you. So we've introduced a series of masterclasses as our first real foray into this area to help, as I say, help alumni in some cases, but also non-alumni with subjects that you've already done in real depth. And we're doing them as sort of 30-day real intensives with weekly modules and weekly facilitated discussions with expert facilitators, including some involved in our MBA. So I saw Kaveen up there earlier today. He's involved in our finance masterclass. But that's, again, the sort of thing. So when you're good and ready, after you've given yourselves a healthy break, if there is targeted knowledge that you need, we'd love to hear from you and help you through that journey. Now, that'll be supplemented by things like webinars on topics of relevance and interest, and also the AIB review, which you heard Megan talk about earlier. But more than that, this is not just about learning for you as individuals. It's also about potentially helping your organisations. So where your organisations have a real need for some targeted knowledge in a particular area, that's something that this initiative of ours will be able to help with as well. So that's all I wanted to touch on. Obviously, we're always available to chat and understand more about what your needs are, and also talk through more of what we can do, how we can help you, and how we can connect. But for now, I will hand back to Paul to finish things for today. So Paul, over to you.
I did the 2020 trick of muting myself and then forgetting I was on mute. And I don't do it often, but if there's anyone in the group today who has not done that at some point during 2020, I really take my hat off to you. So apologies for starting to talk when I was on mute. But look, I think we're rapidly approaching that point at which the enthusiasm for being on a Zoom call typically starts to wane. And we have gone a little bit over our time. All of us at AIB would really like to thank you all for attending today, joining in the celebrations. We think it's always really important to mark our accomplishments and to celebrate our achievements. And we're delighted that it means enough to you that you've wanted to do that today. Now, we're certainly intending to hold in-person graduation ceremonies next year, including one in Adelaide in April, one hopefully, fingers crossed, in Vancouver in July or August, and one in Adelaide in October. Now, of course, all of that's dependent on government restrictions and our ability to hold ceremonies safely, responsibly, and appropriately. But we really hope that many of you will come along to one of those in-person ceremonies as well and take part in the more ceremonial types of approaches that we have there. And I've got to say, our graduations have become known for being quite raucous affairs because that we really want them to be celebratory and not stiff and formal. And we had one graduand last year, as she was crossing the stage, her family all stopped in the crowd and gave an impromptu haka, which was really one of those wonderful moments that you get along the way. So we really would love you to come along and celebrate in person if we get the opportunity to do that. So to finish off our virtual graduation today, we're going to list the names of all of our graduands from 2020, or at least those of you who have attended today. And typically, of course, at a graduation ceremony, you'd have your name read and you'd get to walk across the stage and you'd shake hands with the chair of the academic board and the academic dean. Note to self, we might need to cut out handshakes at future events, but anyway, and you'd have your photo taken and you'd have your family and friends holler and cheer and whistle as you came across the stage. So we can't exactly replicate that in an online setting, but we are going to have your name scroll through like the credits in a blockbuster movie. And so I ask you to join me in a round of applause as your names appear. I'm not sure that Zoom necessarily copes with hundreds of computer microphones going off at once, but there's always the virtual clap reactions, and you can mute yourself and yell and cheer in a very animated way to your heart's content to show that you're actually into the celebrations and the festivities. It would also be remiss of me not to mention our graduation team at AIB, who have had to pivot and adapt and change on the run for all of 2020 as we've tried to work out exactly how it is that we could have some celebration of graduations. And I'm really proud of what they've pulled together today, and I thank them all on your behalf. And lastly, thank you again for having placed your trust in AIB for something this important. We really hope that you'll consider yourselves to be vital members of the AIB family for a long time to come. We certainly think of you that way. And so with that, I'll put on to the honour roll, and thank you for taking part.
Well done, everyone.
Congratulations, everyone.
Well done, everybody.
Well done, well done.
I should just
Well done.
again. I forgot to mention
Congratulations.
the recording.
Well done.
Well done, everyone.
Congratulations, everyone. Well done. Well done.
Congrats,
Oh, what are you going to do? You
Congrats,
PhD?
Courtney.
You're gonna let's throw the hat. You want to throw the hat?
Congrats,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Do we throw our hats?
Congrats, Roger.
Cheers, everybody.
Yay!
Okay. Yay! Well done.
Well done, guys. Have a lovely weekend.
Well done, everyone. Well done, everyone. Have a great day.
Good night.
Hi, Veronica. Well done.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, AIB. Everyone, thank you. Bye, Kate.
Now,
Thank
Yeah, me too.
Well, everyone, have a lovely day. Bye.
Good day. Bye. Good weekend. Bye.
Ahorita los que hablan.
Well done. Congratulations to all.
Yep, that's it. Say bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, AIB.
Thank you, AIB. Thank you.
AIB.